That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The Clinton City Council Tuesday night received an update on its ongoing water tower replacement of the Quincy Street Water Tower. Kurt Carlson with the engineering firm Mead and Hunt reminded the council of the need and scope of the project, including several components of the water treatment plant and water tower that had reached the end of their life.
A couple years ago, sat down, there's quite an extensive list of improvements that were come up with, kind of a wish list for improvements at the water treatment plant, new water main, and new water tower as well. Replace the water tower down the street on Quincy here. And so we came up with this list, and Mead Hunt was hired to do the design and also work with paperwork for securing loans through the state of Illinois and all the permit applications as well. So we had an initial list that we came up with, and so kind of a little bit more history to break it out. We had improvements that were at the water treatment plant. So all these improvements are to replace components that have reached the end of their useful life. So most of the stuff at the water treatment plant has been in since the early 2000s. So a lot of equipment that's reached the end of its useful service life. The water tower is obviously kind of pretty well past its service life. So that's what the gist of the project is, to replace these components, make sure that the water treatment plant is in good shape for the next 20 years and well beyond that for the water tower. So we broke these up into a couple of different...
The project would cost roughly $13 to $15 million, and Carlson indicates the city is pursuing a low-interest loan through the Illinois EPA.
Submittals that we'll make, and one of the big things, obviously fund the project, the city doesn't have, what we're looking at is roughly $13 million worth of improvements, and obviously the city doesn't have that just laying in the bank. So one of the funding forms that we're going to utilize is a low-interest loan program from the state of Illinois. And so there's a process to apply for that loan, get design plans approved, and everything else. So along those lines, we came up with this wish list, and then the actual projects to get those completed. So we broke that up into two loan programs. The first project, local projects, would be the water tower and the improvements at the water treatment plant. Then after that is replace water main on Quincy Street. So what we're going to do is make sure that the water tower is constructed before we then have to dig up the road, put in the water main, and then replace the road. So we don't have to go back and tear up the brand new road by doing the water tower. And then one of the other projects is the demo of the existing older tower.
According to Carlson, the city of Clinton hopes to submit its plans for the water tower by the end of the month, with the hope of it being approved by the Illinois EPA around July of next year.
So with that, we had come up with an initial timeline of getting permit applications submitted, design plans, loan application, and all that paperwork to Illinois EPA. So the last time we were met, it was the end of last year, and there was an ordinance passed for the city to authorize itself to use that loan program. That's one of the pieces of paperwork that the state requires. So we got that in place. And so what happens with the loan program is there's many communities throughout the state that also have projects going on. Water mains, water treatment plants, new towers, you name it. There's one pile of money for the water side, and there's one pile of money for wastewater projects. So each spring, At the end of March, everybody puts in their request for money for their project. And then the state, Illinois EPA, scores everybody's project to see who's going to, and eventually that scoring results in a list of whose project is going to be funded. So there isn't, just like at the city, there's not an endless pile of money at the state. So they have to come up with a scoring and categorization process to figure out which projects are going to be funded.
Carlson says the water main they will have to replace will be under a separate application process and loan. Also at the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting, Sue Whitted was sworn in as Commissioner of Accounts and Finance. The council approved an increase in compensation for city commissioners effective for the fiscal year 27. And the city council approved the purchase of property at 803 Illini Drive, the future site of a new Clinton City Hall. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Piatt County SRO promoting school bus safety. The Clinton YMCA is reminding the community of its before and after school care program, Y-Zone. Executive Director Rennie Kluver indicates this program provides parents a place to send children before and after school where they will have opportunities to do homework and receive help with that homework, as well as an outlet to play and have fun.
I mean, the simple summary is it's a before and after school program for parents, and it's childcare. And I would say it's not your everyday typical childcare. It's not like dropping them off at a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need to get to work early before you can drop off kids at school, we've got that program there for you. Drop them off. We take care of them until they have to, the bell rings for them to go to class.
Mm-hmm.
And then after school, we're there. If you can't pick them up after school, if they don't ride the bus home or to a grandparent's or an aunt, uncle's house, whatever what you need for your child to go to after school, we are in the building now at CS. Then the kids will be bused from the other schools to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's activities, it's homework help if they need it.
Mm-hmm.
There's, a lot of recess time just to kind of let the kids unwind from a long day of school.
Mm-hmm.
And it runs after school from the time the bell rings. So let's say 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so we give those parents that work out of town, they get off at 5:30, they get time to get home, get back to Clinton and pick up their kids.
Clinton schools are going to the Learning Center model for Lincoln and Douglas schools, which has resulted in the Y making Clinton Elementary School the primary attendance center for Y-Zone. Kluver indicates students will be bused from Lincoln and Douglas to CES.
A little different this year, at least for the first 9 weeks, and with the changes that were going on at Lincoln, what the school district was, adding the classes and just the pure number of enrollment at Lincoln, we've decided to move all of Y-Zone to CES for the first 9 weeks, and we'll see how that works. We may be able to keep it there for the remainder of the year, or maybe revert back and see if the school could let us use Douglas. Maybe better for everybody. But I know, even beginning of the school year, just everyone getting back in the routine and with the number of cars that could be through Lincoln, I think this was a smart move for us to kind of relieve some of that stress on the teachers and the staff, and even our staff and the kids that'll be going to Y-Zone. So that's a change. And I know Melinda Akers, who is the director of all of our child care, before and after school care, has let parents know, and we'll keep them updated on any other changes that occur throughout every year since I've been involved at the Y. They've always taken the kids from Douglas to Lincoln, but this year that bus wouldn't even need to be needed for us because I think it's just pre-K that's in Douglas. So we take kids K through 5, and it was K through first grade.
Mm-hmm.
We're all at Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
And so now those kids, those kindergarten and first grade, will just be transported to CES. Operationally, for the Y, this is a much better situation for us as far as staffing, materials, supplies, just the logistics of having all the kids at one spot. I don't know how many parents that we have that have multiple kids. Some of them had kids that went to CES and Lincoln. And so this would be a great change because now I can just pick up at one spot versus two.
According to Kluver, CES remains a great option for Y-Zone, but the challenge in the winter months is the sports programs that utilize the gym space, and the CES gym is used regularly for Y-Zone. They will continue to evaluate options for where they will house Y-Zone going forward after the first few months of the school year. Additionally, new this year is the sign-up for Y-Zone online. Kluver points interested parents in the program to learn more or sign up at clintoncomymca.org. You can also stop into their facility on Alexander Street. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
In the communities we call home, connection means something more. That's why Connexus Fiber Internet combines the strength of a locally owned network with support from people who call this community home. The internet that powers your day should be built with the same care as the community around you. Connexus provides the speed you want, reliability you need, and the service you expect from neighbors who live here too. Luxury speed, hometown heart. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. With kids back in class, local authorities continue to emphasize safety around school buses and in school zones. School Resource Officer and Piatt County Sheriff's Deputy Lindsey Bross is beginning another school year of bouncing around the county's school buildings to build relationships and ensure student and staff safety. Sheriff Mark Vogelzang says the SRO program has been very successful for almost 8 years, largely thanks to Deputy Bross.
I'm the school resource officer, and currently I go to 3 different school districts in Piatt County: Monticello, Cerro Gordo, and B-Mint. And usually I go once a week, twice to Monticello, once to B-Mint and Cerro Gordo. Then I'll kind of flip-flop between. I never try to go like on every same days, try to switch it up for everybody a little bit. Mm-hmm. And my main role is to build like positive relationships with the students and the staff, and to keep everybody safe.
Absolutely. I think Lindsay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say about 6 or 7 years ago we started.
I'm coming up on my 8th school year now.
Oh, 8 years. She was the first SRO, and then at a certain time she was doing D-Land as well. And about 4 years ago, D-Land wanted their own dedicated one. Mm-hmm. So Justin Ernst is the dedicated SRO for that school and goes there all 5 days of the week.
One of Deputy Bross's biggest concerns this time of year is traffic enforcement and distracted drivers in and around school zones. She points out that it is especially a problem when it comes to the stop signs and other signals displayed on school buses while children are getting on and off the bus.
Right. One of the biggest things is really, and I get this all the time when I pull people over, is like paying attention to what's going on. School zones, they do have generally like flashing lights, signage saying, school's in session or school zone, but sometimes not everybody is paying attention to what's going on around them. And I especially see that a lot for the stop school bus signs. I even see it when first day of school back. I'll probably be sitting in one of my the school districts watching the school buses, and they have the whole flashing lights, everything, but still people pass. They need to know while they're in Piatt County, if you see a school bus, it does not matter what road you are on, you're going to need to stop, because we generally do not have 4 lanes in Piatt County except for on the interstate, and we don't have drop off or pick up there, so you don't have to worry about that. But while you're in either the school zone, driving in the country, once you see a school bus, just kind of like start slowing down a little bit, pay attention. And then they'll usually give like a warning that they're like the yellow lights before they turn on the red flashers and then the stop sign. What I also see is people, when that happens, sometimes they'll panic a little bit. You know, they don't know what to do almost. I've seen where people slow roll into the past the stop sign of the school bus. You know, that's still considered a violation, even though you're going really slow. Sometimes I'll see them back up and then try to find a different route to go around. Sometimes I've seen people even go into the grass area.
Mm-hmm.
What you just need to do is just stop. That's all you need to do. They will be there for just a little bit longer, then they'll be moving on their way.
While writing tickets is never fun, Deputy Bross does write tickets for school zone and bus violations because of how dangerous those situations can be for unaware or unsafe drivers.
I'm pretty hard, you know, if people pass stop school bus signs. You know, I will give out a ticket. Now, you know, they still have to, you know, go to court for that, and, you know, it could get pled down or something like that. But, you know, safety is paramount. And with that, I generally do not give any leeway for that. You know, I had a semi driver blow past the school bus while they were loading and unloading. And when I asked, like, hey, you know, did you see that? Well, no, I was looking down. Well, that makes it even worse. So usually when I always ask people, you know, their reasoning, and I will listen to see. But honestly, a lot of times it's just people really not paying attention. And, you know, that's never good if you're driving a vehicle and you're not paying attention, especially with kids running around.
Deputy Bross and Sheriff Vogelsang encourage motorists to be mindful in school zones, the laws around them, and for children in neighborhoods who are walking or biking to school. We'll have more with Deputy Bross about e-bikes in Piatt County, as well as some tips for first-time drivers in the days ahead from the Heart Media Group. Illinois has a program aimed at correcting food deserts across the state. It's called the Illinois Grocery Initiative, says Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton.
It's another program that we have implemented as an administration to make sure that we can help start or support grocery stores. There's not a big profit margin in grocery stores. And a lot of times you might have a store come and open up. We've seen this in lots of communities where there's a chain that opens up, and then when they feel like they're not making the profits, they pick up and leave, leaving the community without what they need. And so it's an effort to really make sure that there's a support for existing stores, but also including, you know, what kind of equipment they might need, but also looking at where can we find on the map new places to start grocery stores.
Under the Illinois Grocery Initiative is the New Stores and Food Deserts Grant Program, Equipment Upgrades Grant Program, and the High Impact Business, or HIB, Tax Incentives Program. More information at dceo.illinois.gov. Have you received a postcard in the mail claiming you have qualified for hundreds of dollars worth of free gas or grocery vouchers? The Better Business Bureau warns that these offers are likely a way for scammers to trick recipients into handing over their payment information. If you've fallen for this and already provided payment information, BBB investigator Don O'Brien says you should review your accounts for unauthorized charges and report suspicious transactions to your financial institution immediately.
You got to be careful if you think you've unknowingly ever given your bank or credit card information to someone. You've really got to reach out to that bank or that credit card company to make sure you change that number, so that way these people don't put unauthorized charges on those cards.
If you receive a questionable postcard or offer, report it to BBB Scam Tracker. Your report can help warn others in your community and provide valuable information about emerging scam trends. And contact your bank. If you've already lost money, contact your bank or credit card company as soon as possible to dispute your unauthorized charges. School resuming across Illinois, and that means the Illinois FFA Major State Officer Team will be embarking on chapter visits, including State Secretary Owen Rigg from the Williams Field FFA chapter.
So yeah, I'm actually going to more of the southern states, so that'd be really cool for me. I'm going to starting my weeks in 15, then going to 22 and 23, which are all the southern states, and I'm really looking forward to going and seeing them. It'll be a new experience for me, being from the northern part of the state. But I am really excited to go down there and get to meet all those people and get to see how they live down there.
Rig is spending this week at the Illinois State Fair, along with the 5 other members of the major state officer team. They were elected last June. Recognizing another great example of Illinois Farm Bureau Young Leader participation, McKenna Walker is from Henry County.
I had heard about it all throughout high school. I actually won an FFA jacket scholarship from them. And from there, I was like, yeah, I think that's something I want to be a part of.
Walker spent 2 years at Blackhawk East Community College and is heading to Iowa State this fall to study agronomy. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network News is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. It is a Florida blowout victory for Byron Donalds, a resounding win for the Republican congressman in the Florida governor's primary. Donalds was backed by President Trump early on. He's vowing to keep Florida red, to keep Florida free. He'll face off against former Democrat Congressman David Jolly in the general election. Also in Florida, President Trump is applauding the primary defeat of Democrat Alexander Vindman. He was a star witness against the president in the impeachment proceedings. Vindman took a drubbing at the hands of challenger Democrat Socialist Angie Nixon in the Florida U.S. Senate primary. Nixon will face Republican Senator Ashley Moody in November. And President Trump is insisting the U.S. remains in full control of the Strait of Hormuz, this despite Iran's claims to the contrary. The Dow futures up 53 points. More details, srnnews.com.
Hey, it's Flo here to say drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Nice. With my new savings, I'll get some hiking gear. It'll be great for my outdoor era.
I don't know if it counts as an era if you just buy stuff.
I got a cute hiking backpack. It's an outdoor era.
Well, you only bought one thing. I don't think it's an era.
Well, I think we're in a agree to disagree era.
Yeah, sure, you're probably right. Anyway, with the money you could save by switching to Progressive, you can afford to switch to other things in life. It's
my savings era.
Also, everything you do is not an era.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sportswire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Pete Crow Armstrong made MLB history with a leadoff home run, and Alex Bregman's RBI single gave the Chicago Cubs a second straight walk-off win over the Chicago White Sox 4-3 on Tuesday night.
For the second straight night, the White Sox were on the wrong end of a walk-off as the Cubs came from behind to beat the Sox 4-3 after a lengthy hour-plus rain delay delayed the pain. Munetaka Murakami, a bright spot, though, as he connected for his team-leading 29th home run of the season.
In terms of hitting streak, swinging a towering fly ball to left, way back there. Gone! We're tied!
Despite Munet's 275th professional home run, the Sox need a win in the series finale Thursday afternoon at Wrigley Field if they're going to split the season series with their crosstown rivals. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 12:30 on the ESPN Chicago Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox will look to avoid the series sweep by the Cubs this afternoon. The Sox are back on WHOW on Friday when they take on the New York Mets. Pregame for that outing begins at 6 p.m. Mason Wynn hit a home run and doubled twice, and Kyle Leahy gave up 3 hits and struck out 6 in 5 innings as the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Cincinnati Reds 3-0 on Tuesday night. Riley O'Brien pitched the ninth for his 32nd save. It was the 12th time the Reds have been shut out this season, and the Cardinals' 9th shutout win. It's the first time Wynn had 2 doubles in a game since July 28, 2025 against the Marlins. Cardinals left fielder Joshua Baez went 0 for 3 with an RBI on a sacrifice fly. He's now 0 for 17 with 7 strikeouts since his 3-homer day at Wrigley Field on Saturday. Leahy is 10-4 and threw 90 pitches. It was his 10th straight start, allowing 2 earned runs or fewer. Wynn's homer off left-hander Andrew Abbott, who is 6-8, in the 5th, put the Cardinals ahead 1-0. It was Wynn's 5th homer of the season and his first since July 3rd. It was also the first homer allowed by Abbott in 23 1/3 innings dating back to July 26th. Wynn's second double came with 1 out in the 7th. He scored when Jose Fermin followed with a double to make it the score 2-0. Abbott, who surrendered 1 hit and didn't walk a batter through the first 4 1/3 innings, allowed 2 earned runs on 4 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 6 in 6 1/3 innings. Jordan Walker singled and scored on Baez's sacrifice fly to extend the Cardinals' lead to 3-0 in the 8th. Cardinals lefty Matthew Liberatore is 5-10 with a 5.07 ERA and will face right-hander of the Reds, Chase Burns, who's 14-2 with a 2.47 ERA on Wednesday. The Milwaukee Brewers matched baseball's modern era record for the biggest shutout, beating the Seattle Mariners 22-0 on Tuesday night, behind 3-run homers from Christian Yelich, David Hamilton, and Luis Lara, and a 2-run shot by Jake Bauers. The Major League best Brewers sit at 78-48 and matched a franchise record for runs in a game. Since 1901, the only previous 22-0 victories were by Pittsburgh over the Cubs on September 16, 1975, and by Cleveland at the New York Yankees on August 31, 2004. Bauer scored the Brewers' first run in colorful fashion. He doubled with 2 outs in the first against Bryce Miller, who is 4-7. William Contreras singled, and left fielder Randy Arozarena's throws to the plate easily beat Bauers, who slapped at catcher Cal Raleigh's mitt on his slide. Raleigh dropped the ball, and Bauers dived back to the plate. Yelich's homer made it 6-0 in the 5th. Hamilton went deep in the 6th to make it 9-0, and Bauers' 22nd homer later in the inning made it 11-0. Milwaukee scored 9 times in the 8th against Mariners infielder Leo Rivas, including Lara's homer, which was the first of his career. Kyle Harrison is 10-3 and allowed 8 runs, 3 earned, over 4 2/3 innings in his previous start, and held the Mariners to 2 hits in 5 innings. Shane Johan worked 2 innings. Grant Anderson pitched the 8th, and catcher Gary Sanchez completed the 5-hitter, working around 2 hits in the 9th while throwing several pitches under 40 miles per hour. Hamilton's 4 RBIs were a career high. Yelich and Lara also drove in 4 runs each, and Garrett Mitchell had 4 hits. Seattle's right-hander Logan Gilbert is 9-7 with a 3.28 ERA, and Milwaukee's right-hander Dustin May is 6-7 with a 4.13 ERA to get the start on Wednesday. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the New York Yankees beat the Baltimore Orioles 3-1, while the Pittsburgh Pirates took down the Detroit Tigers 4-1. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the Miami Marlins 6-4, while the Cleveland Guardians routed the San Francisco Giants 8-1. The Toronto Blue Jays beat the Tampa Bay Rays 10-5, while the Boston Red Sox took down the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-4. The San Diego Padres beat the New York Mets 5-2, and the Kansas City Royals beat the Athletics 4-3. The Minnesota Twins beat the Atlanta Braves 4-1, while the Texas Rangers shut out the Washington Nationals 5-0. The Los Angeles Angels beat the Houston Astros 3-1, and the Los Angeles Dodgers took down the Colorado Rockies 7-6. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. A flood watch begins at 1 p.m. this afternoon and remains in effect until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Overcast today with storms likely, high of 79.